We were just talking about it not too long ago. All Saskatchewan matchup in the second round of the WHL playoffs. Saskatoon, Prince Albert. The series is shifting to Saskatoon tomorrow with the Raiders up 2-0 in that series against the Blades. And joining us now, Prince Albert Raiders General Manager Curtis Hunt. Thanks for taking the time.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
How's your short game when it comes to golf?
I don't golf.
Hey, you and I can get along. We can get along on that one. I'm good to watch it.
It's just a good walk ruined.
I'm right there with you, Curtis.
Yeah.
I want to start here. You were recently announced as a finalist for the WHL Executive of the Year award. So, first of all, congratulations on making the finalist list there. Why do you think that your name stood out?
Oh, I don't know. That's a tough question. I think because our scouting staff has done a tremendous job, our coach has done a tremendous job, and you get 50 wins, and we win the division, and we finished first in the conference, and we did a lot of really good things here this year, and so I guess my name's at the top of the list, so that's the name they check. And it's a nice honor because it's voted on by your peers and certainly the guys you compete against every day and guys who I have a lot of respect for. So it's just a nice honor, and it's something I represent on behalf of everybody in our organization.
And I'm glad that you brought that up because I'm curious. I know you're not a guy that likes to brag about yourself by any stretch of the imagination, but how does this nomination reflect the work of the entire hockey ops staff?
Well, I think it is. It's a culmination of, it starts with the guys in the field. We have 14 guys out there watching younger players, or U14. We had a group in Manitoba this weekend, and they're heading out to BC next weekend. It starts with those guys in the draft, and trying to make good decisions, trying to find players that fit the organization. It's the work they do. We try to do everything by committee, and then, of course, your coaches and the work they do day in and day out. And those guys live 6 inches in front of their face, and there's the stone they don't unturned to try to find a solution and find a way to make us better and give the kids every opportunity to be their best version of themselves. And in the end, it all really came together very nicely this year, starting with probably the Euro draft, a couple key acquisitions in Gorzinski and Braden Coots, and Ryan and his staff have done a tremendous job.
When you look at the off-ice team that you have assembled, right, and you mentioned how they were in Manitoba last weekend, they're heading out on the road again. You can't be everywhere at the same time, as much as I'm sure you would love to be. So they serve as your eyes, your ears, maybe even your gut instinct a little bit when they're out there. Do you want people that see the game the same way that you do, or do you want people that maybe challenge your views of players when they go out and watch players and prospective Raiders?
Well, what I do love honest conversation, and we all see things from a different viewpoint based on our experience and certainly our age. I see the game a little different than Ryan, even as a coach, and we've got some younger scouts, and we've got some guys a little longer in the tooth. And I think what makes us real good is it's the sum of our parts, and it's greater than the individuals. And so when you get to the draft is run by Bruno Zarello. I stay in my lane. I try to watch the young guys as much as I can, but those guys put in the time from September until May when the draft is on, and they run the draft, and they have conversations around the list, the order, and they'll go back and forth 2 or 3 times, and I'm on the Zoom calls with them, and I get to the tournaments when I can, but really, it's Bruno's baby to run, and he just does a terrific job. He's organized. He takes input and opinion from all his guys so that everybody feels part of it. And, sometimes guys get players from the area and sometimes they don't. Bruno has the final word on all of that. So in the end, it's good people, people who care about the organization, people who love the game. And they don't always get a lot of pay. but they sure are loyal, and I just love spending time with them when I can get out there.
Well, you mentioned the perspective and how you see things. How have you seen the first 2 games of your series against Saskatoon?
Well, I think we hit an emotionally tired team in game 1. Playing Saskatoon for us is every bit as good as the Trans-Canada Clash down south, and maybe, in my opinion, a little better. We've just played them so much recently in playoff series to drive that competitive and that rivalry. And then game 2, it was, obviously a lot closer game. I like the way we played, but certainly we know that tomorrow is going to be the toughest of the series so far, and we've got to prepare accordingly. It's a tough building to play in, especially in the postseason. They get great fan support, and we're really looking forward to it.
Now, this Prince Albert Raiders team has limited Saskatoon's offense significantly in the first 2 games of this series. What have you liked most about the defensive buy-in on the ice?
Well, I think the key to our team, if I just talked about our roster, and I'll tie this into the question, is if you started from scratch to build a team, you go goalie, defense, center. At least that's my opinion. And when I look at our D moved pucks extremely well. Our goaltender, obviously, a first All-Star and nominated for goalie of the year in the Western Hockey League, or at least the Eastern Conference. And that's kind of where it starts. But we have 4 centers, in my opinion, that can play against any line. They're veteran guys. They all compete. They all play hard. And so that combination, to me, and the way Ryan has us playing, whether it's up ice fast or tracking, really forces teams to play on the outside. And I think what we've done is a real good job of controlling the middle of the ice, especially in the D zone, and really limiting their chances. And then when they do get chances, and they do, and they always will, Big Michael Orsulek has done a tremendous job for us. And so we just continue to want to play like a team, especially without the puck, and do everything we can for puck recovery and create those numerical advantages to gain and regain possession.
When you mentioned rivalries, Curtis Hunt, and obviously you've experienced them as a player, as a coach, now, of course, as an executive member. I'm not going to get you to rank whose is better, but a rivalry when you're a teenager can make you do funny things, right? You can get overly emotional. You can go ahead and you can do things that are abnormal for you. You can get caught up in the wave of what you're feeling from the stands. When you're playing a rival in a series to this magnitude, is composure the key word that you have to have?
That's probably true. I think throughout the regular season, things can get out of hand. They certainly have in the past in all the rivalries I've been part of. And, you get to playoff hockey, you've got to find the edge without going over. Power plays and special teams become so important. So you really have to be disciplined and focused, and really you got to put behind you there's always those individual, you get whacked on the arm, or you get speared, or it's the game within the game, I guess I would call it. And it's those moments when you have to be, I guess, mentally tough is a word, or composed, as you said, or just flat out disciplined, and be aware of the bigger picture, and be aware that you might get a chance to respond with a clean hit or with a goal or something else if you can maintain that composure at that particular time. So special teams are so important in the playoffs. I think it's so important that the guys understand where we want to get to versus reacting in the moment.
And does that start with your coach, as he appears to be a very composed young man, and even though he may not have a ton of experience, which, again, I'm going to qualify that because I think he's got all the experience he needs, but boy, does he seem composed and have the players all pulling the rope in the same direction.
Well, you talk about being part of the series. He was part of the Trans-Canada Clash back in the 2000s when when the game was a lot different. Certainly, if you guys reflect on those times in our league, and then of course he was part of this. If I call it the Highway 11 or a clash or battle of Highway 11 with Saskatoon, PA, has been part of that as a player as well. Yeah, what I like about Ryan is, there's a lot of things to like about him as a coach and as a person, but he really is, I think, in control of his emotions. It's not that he's not passionate, but I think he steers the ship with calm and composure, and he gets his point across to the officials when he needs to, and it's a big part of the direction of our club.
Sometimes when a player steps away from the game, they think, I've got one more game left in me, one more shift, one more play, whatever the case may be. Ever a point where you say, geez, just one more game behind the bench I think would be really fun?
There's a reason I didn't take over last year when we made the coaching change. It's for me, I guess if that's the question, would I want to get back behind the bench? I get my fill in the summer, I guess. One of my scouts runs a program in Prairie Storm, and I get out there and I get to get on the ice and pretend I'm still a player a little bit, and then coach and try to help those kids in their development as well. So that's all the fill I need. I have a lot of fun with that, but right now I love the job he's doing, and I enjoy the job I'm doing, and the people that I get to work with every day. So I really don't think about ever getting behind the bench again.
Well, yeah, it sounds like you're busy enough. No wonder you don't golf. You have been around this league for a while. You understand these rivalries quite well, Curtis. Now, I'm curious, what do you expect to see from the Saskatoon Blades now that the series is shifting to the Bridge City?
Well, a lot of what I saw in period one in game two, I thought they have always played a very structured game. Like I said, I think the emotion of the 7-game Edmonton series, maybe lingered a little bit in game one and game two. Really, we were scoreless through halfway through the second period, if not, I guess, late in the second period. And it was a tight game all the way through. I expect the same. They play a big body, heavy game. We know they're going to be physical. We know they're going to try to get under our skin, and we expect them to get as many pucks and people to the net as they can in their building, and they've played very well in that building. So as I mentioned, the crowd becomes a factor. What I like about our group is, even though we don't have last change, as I mentioned, because of the depth up front through the middle, Ryan doesn't really have to concern himself too much with changing on the fly or chasing the matchups.
Well, I'm going to keep chasing the 50-50 up in PA. It's gigantic, and thank goodness you can get your tickets online. I was going to ask if you had any, but I thought that would probably be wrong to ask.
I don't participate in the 50-50. I just think it would be ethically wrong if they announced my name on 100,000.
It might not look great.
Yeah, it's been absolutely incredible, and I think it started last year. We were the only Saskatchewan team playing when our series went 7 with Edmonton, and Mike Sissons is in our front office, does a terrific job of making people aware of where it's at. Obviously what the potential could be, and it's been great. It's been great for our organization as we fund our education with it, and I think it's been great for the patrons. And as a matter of fact, I actually personally handed out the check after the game. It was $100,000 and $25, and the gal told me she's going to build a she shed, and I said, well, when you get it done and you get your big TV in there, invite us over and we'll watch a game on Victory Plus. So.
There you go.
I love that. Life-changing money. Dang. That's
absolutely.
Awesome.
So pretty exciting for the fans, and it's just incredible to watch it every night. It flashes every 10 minutes or so, and it's been absolutely phenomenal.
Well, we look forward to seeing the team back on the ice as the series shifts to Saskatoon tomorrow, with the Prince Albert Raiders up 2-0 in that series against the Blades. So enjoy the game tomorrow and Wednesday night, and we'll have to catch up soon.
Excellent. Thanks very much for having me on, guys. Have a great day.